What's up? We back. You Can't Play Boxing Podcast, episode 33. Yeah, so before we get into everything, want to get some of the house cleaning out the way. Number one, you can check us out on Instagram. That's at You Can't Play Boxing Podcast. You Can't Play Boxing. That's UCANTPLAYBOXING. Also check out our YouTube, You Can't Play Boxing. Our website is being remodeled right now, so you can check that out at can'tplayboxing.com. Also the Twitter, You Can't Play Boxing. So man, it's been a big weekend. We had a lot of fights. Championship fights. It was one of the better weekends we've had since this whole COVID thing happened. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to definitely talk about the Charlos. We're going to talk about Josh Taylor fight as much as we can. So we're going to get into the boxing for sure. But like I always told y'all, You Can't Play Boxing Podcast is really podcast about boxing and bullshit. And unfortunately, we're gonna start out with some bullshit that it's been going on for a while. So first of all, we got the finalized news this week about Brianna Taylor's situation. For those who don't know, Brianna Taylor was killed in her own apartment as police in Louisville, Kentucky, they executed a no-knock warrant. And for those who don't know, a no-knock warrant is a warrant where the police don't have to announce who they are. They can be in plain clothes, and yeah. So situation supposedly it's been mixed stories, but the police said they did announce who they were when they came in the middle of the night, even though they were in plain clothes. They had some witnesses saying they also announced who they were. Brianna Taylor's boyfriend said there wasn't any sort of announcement, and when he saw some people coming in the apartment in the middle of the night, he started busting back because he didn't know who they were. At that point, police, they start ringing off shots. And unfortunately, our sister, Brianna Taylor, she passed away sooner than she should have. Unfortunately. So, it's the prosecutor in Louisville, Kentucky, he announced that they weren't going to press charges, which, knowing what the law was there, knowing at that point they had the no-knock rule, and knowing where the case is happening in Kentucky, and knowing that it's kind of hard to really get an officer to justice when the law was totally fucked up, I didn't have a lot of faith that they were going to come back and say they were going to prosecute or indict them. So, unfortunately, the lack of faith that I had got reinforced by the ruling. So, it's just unfortunate because a lot of people, they play this whole partisan thing. They play this whole, she was involved with this person, but god damn it, if you laying in your bed in the middle of the night, you don't expect nobody to come in your motherfucking crib and shoot you. So, and people gotta realize, man, this is not just a sound bite or a trending topic. This was a real person who had family, who had a mother, who had brothers, most likely, who had, of course, a father, who had people that loved them. This ain't just a motherfucking, hashtag or a topic for you to debate back and forth on Twitter or Instagram or on your message boards. That's why I kind of stay low off that shit, man, because it really saddens me that people don't really look at the humanity of it, man. As far as when it comes to all these stories, these are real people when it comes to it. This is not somebody just made up a fairy tale. It's not just somebody that's, a character made out of a story. And people just kind of lost their humanity when it comes to shit like that, bro. So I'm going to fall back off that because it's making me madder and madder. So let me get off that. Going into some more political shit, but it's kind of, I don't take it seriously when it comes to political shit, so it don't really affect me. But our president, our president, because regardless of what you think, if you voted for him or not, he the president of the United States. And if you're a U.S. citizen, he is the president. Now, whether you agree with him, and I don't, whatever. I'm not going to even go into that shit, but he the president. But our president, Donald Trump. And every time I say that, it feels crazy me saying Donald Trump is the president. Like, that don't even sound, it feel like I'm in some sort of fucking, like, Twilight Zone, for real. Like, Donald Trump is the president. If somebody told you that shit, like, 20 years ago, you'd be like, what the fuck you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. That's crazy. Like, that's just, it's 4 years in, I still find it crazy. But I do say that Donald Trump is what America deserves. I mean, he represents America, and whether you voted for him or not, he represents, if you didn't vote for him or didn't vote, he represents the, what's the word I'm looking for? He represents the lack of preparation we have in America. He represents the nonchalant manner that we have in America when it comes to certain things. He represents our current morals that we have in 2020. He represents our current integrity we have in 2020 in America. So I don't, whether you agree with him or not, he represents America, and I think he represents what current day America is. So whether you like him or not, that's who it is. But anyway, let me get off that soapbox. Donald Trump came out with the platinum plan, saying for black people. When I first saw the name of it, I said, okay, Donald Trump probably was like, okay, when I used to hang around Puffy back in the day, what's that the blacks like? They like that platinum, right? Like, I don't know where he got that damn name on, but yeah, the platinum plan, supposedly he has some initiatives that are geared towards black people. Now, whether or not you believe it or not, I mean, because he did have 4 years being the president, but hey, what can you say? This is election time. So, but with that platinum plan, like I said, he taking it back to the 99 and the 2000s with that shit. So, election season is coming up. And again, if you choose to vote, use that right. If you choose not to vote, hey, you have a right not to vote. However, I do think it's kind of funny when people say they're not going to vote, but then, they complain about something. I'm like, hey, I mean, you're basically being taxed without being represented. But, I get some of the people point as far as not voting, but I just can't. Me personally, I don't see how you can be in the game, how you can take yourself out of the game and then feel we have a right to complain. I mean, well, you do have a right to complain. I'm going to take that back. You got a right to complain, but if you don't play ball, it's not saying the referee's going to call the right fouls. They're not going to cheat, but you got to find a way to work around that shit. You got to find a way to influence it, and it's not going to be something where it's going to happen overnight over 4 years, because we as a people have been in this situation for over longer than 4 years. It's going to take not just voting, but once you vote, that's just like, it's like a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You can get married, but if you get married and you ain't working on the shit, if you just say, oh, I got married, and then you don't put no effort into it, you don't call your representatives, you don't let them know what you want, you don't lobby. It's a lot. It's more than just voting. It's a lot. So, and I don't know if people, like with a lot of stuff, I don't know if they really want to put the work in. And I'm not saying the system is perfect, the system is far from perfect. The system is fucked up. You know, that's no way. There's no other way around it. The system is fucked up. However, are you going to be in the system? Are you going to talk about the system and continue to see the same players make the same decisions, and you having no input, and you're not formulating a plan to make input or to put a strategy in place? And if you put a plan in place in 2020, it might not work in 2020. It might not work in 2024. Hell, it might be 2036 before the plan even comes into fruition, because we're coming from behind, you know what I'm saying? So, but you know, you gotta, it's like with anything else, you gotta lay the foundation, you gotta be consistent, and you gotta just go for it. But enough of the politics shit, you know what I'm saying? Going into some sports shit, man. Tonight we got our second person who's going to be, the second team who's going to be in the NBA Finals. Last night, the LA Lakers, they clinched, they clinched their berth to the NBA Finals. It's LeBron James' 10th visit to the finals, and I don't care what the fuck you're talking about. If LeBron James has been to the finals 10 times now, I know he's only won 3 times, but just to be there 10 times, that's something, you know what I'm saying? And he's, I don't think he's the greatest player of all time, but do I think he's top 5? Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, for sure. And to be top 5 of anybody who has picked up the basketball, you know how special you have to be? There's been millions of people who picked up basketball, who played There's been thousands of people that's played basketball for a living. And for you to be in the top 5, man, that's special. So people, I think what people do, they make special talents, they try to make it seem ordinary. This is not no ordinary shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not no ordinary shit for a player to have scrutiny on them from the age of 18, even before that, age of 16, being on ESPN, 15. And to maintain that, not only physically, but mentally, because it's a big thing mentally to be able to withstand the media and the scrutiny and the other players and the outside distractions, and to make it to the finals 10 times. So salute to LeBron James and the Lakers. Not a Lakers fan myself, but, salute to him still. So they're going to be playing the Miami Heat, and Miami Heat, salute to them too, because not too many people predicted Miami Heat to make it to the finals. Jimmy Butler and that team, that's a strong-willed team, very gritty team. I mean, you got gritty people on there like Udonis Haslem, you got Jimmy Butler, you got Bam, you got even Andre Iguodala. You got a lot of gritty players on their team. So I think they're going to make it, they're going to fight, and they're not going to make it easy for the Lakers. The Lakers are going to have to fight and win the series. But my prediction is the Lakers will win the series. Surprise, surprise. Like nobody really thought they weren't going to win. So I think they'll win in 6 games. And we'll see LeBron get his 4th championship. And some people want to put an asterisk by it, saying that, hey, you know what I'm saying, this is in a bubble. But I think to a certain extent, it's harder to do it in the bubble to a certain extent, because you had to really focus and tune everything out for months on end and not be around your family. And so there was, 20 teams that went in there to try to win? And if your team is a team that came out on top, I don't think you have nothing to apologize about, bro. So if the Lakers do win, salute to them. And that championship should not have an asterisk by it, because everybody was going hard, you know what I'm saying? And they were the ones who came out on top, if that's what happens. So that was enough of the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? There was some good bullshit and some bad bullshit. But what we're going to do real quick, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back. We're going to talk about the Charlo fights. We had a double main event pay-per-view yesterday. Then we also had Josh Taylor, did a quick work, you know what I'm saying? So stay back for a second. We'll be back in 1 minute. What's up? It's that time of the show where we kind of give a shout out to our sponsors. The sponsor today is Anchor. Anchor is everything you need to create your own podcast. You can use Anchor to distribute your show. They'll kind of get it out for you. And all you have to do is do it from your cell phone or your microphone, however you want to do it. But if you want to get your voice out there, if you want to talk to the people, there's no better place to do it than Anchor. So download the app, Anchor, or go to their website, anchor.com. It'll distribute your podcast on all platforms. So again, Anchor. Yeah. Back with this second segment, the main segment of the episode. So this past weekend, we had some major fights. And you got that still tipping in the background. We had the Charlo brothers coming straight from H-Town, by the way of Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to that boot. So the Charlo brothers had their first pay-per-view. They were hot. They were headlining, and some good fights on their card. So we're gonna get into that. Well, before we get into that though, we're gonna talk about real quick. We're gonna talk about Josh Taylor, you know what I'm saying, coming out of England. He had a fight on ESPN Plus against his mandatory. Not going to even mention the guy's name. He's from Thailand or whatever. Fight was real quick. Josh Taylor hit the mandatory with a body punch. Fight was over like in 2 minutes. And, he got him out of there. It's funny. It's not funny because, like I tell people, you can't play boxing. Like it's something that's anytime you get in that ring, bro, you can get hurt. And Josh Taylor clearly outclassed this dude. Hit him with a body shot. And the part that was funny though, because I know I can kind of imagine how he felt, because when he basically got his life knocked out of him, you know what I'm saying? And it reminded me to when I was a little kid, you know what I'm saying? If you ever been playing and you get the wind knocked out of you, and that shit happens and you on the ground and he was rolling around on the ground like, damn. I know he felt bad. And like I said, I'm hats off to anybody getting that ring. He was so hurt he couldn't even leave the ring the regular way. He had to roll out the ring under the rope, you know what I'm saying? So Josh Taylor definitely put a whammy bammy, as they say, on him, with that body punch. Of course, Josh Taylor, he one of the top at 140 pounds. We looking to see him have a unification fight with Ramirez. Josh Taylor already beat Regis Prograis, and that was a good fight. And I think Josh Taylor's definitely one of the best. So I want to see him and Ramirez and see how that goes. But that was quick work, but it was still good having that fight. And we'll see what happens in 2021 as far as a unification fight. So with that out of the way, let's get into the Charlo brothers, the Super Charlo brothers. We're going to talk about their fight. So first fight was, and I always get them mixed up, like everybody else get them mixed up. We had Jamel, you know what I'm saying? Wait, hold on. Was it Jamel or Jamal? Hold on. I always get... Anyway. Yeah, Jamal, I'm sorry, but Jamal fought Sergey Deverenchenko. And Deverenchenko, if you don't know, if you're a boxing fan, you should know. Deverenchenko's been in some close fights over the past couple years. He had a close fight with Danny Jacobs. A lot of people thought it was close. It could have been a draw. I had Danny Jacobs winning that by 1 round, like 7-5. He was also in a close fight with Triple G. I had that fight. I could have saw a draw with this fight, Deverchenko had with Triple G, or I could see you having Deverchenko winning by 1 round. But he gave Triple G all he can handle. And in similar fashion, Deverchenko came to fight Charlo in a similar manner. He was fighting him trying to use angles, using applied pressure, and he made the fight tough, because if you're fighting Deverchenko, he doesn't make it easy for you. And, a lot of times Charlo in the beginning of the fight, he was outclassing Deverchenko at times, but you can't take your foot off the gas, because anytime he did, Deverchenko's coming right back with some counters, all in his face, keeping that applied pressure. And in the middle rounds, around round 7, it was a close fight. But what I liked about this fight for Jamal Charlo is that this fight was a good test. I put it like this. Fighting Deverchenko, if you fake and if you ain't got that bite down, if you don't have that something extra in your tank, you're going to fail the test fucking with him, you know what I'm saying? And you're going to lose. Only certain caliber of fighters can really, because it's not only his skills, it's the pressure that he applies. And if you're not used to that, if you're used to kind of like your skills get these fighters off of him and they kind of back down, he gonna make it to where you have to apply that same pressure to him 36 rounds in order to get out of there with a win. So I like this fight for Jamal, that he had to bite down, he had to adjust, and he passed that test. He let me know that he's not just a front runner. If he has to bite down and adjust and dig in deep, he can do that. So this was a great fight for him. I had to fight like 116, 112, but don't get me wrong. Any score that you had really don't get to fight justice because of the way that Deverchenko fights. He applied that pressure. He made it to where it wasn't an easy fight at all. You know what I'm saying? Even though Jamal will win some rounds, some of those rounds are barely won, but he won them, and he had to bite down and do it. So shout out to Jamal for winning that one. He kept his 160-pound belt. We'll kind of get into who I may see him fight in later on. Second main event, we had his brother Jamel at 154 pounds. He fought Jason Rosario. Jason Rosario had beat J-Rock. J-Rock lost to Jamal Charlo at 154 a couple years ago. So a lot of people were giving Jason Rosario thinking it's going to be a tough fight. And me personally going into it, I was like, well, Jamel was in 2 tough fights with Tony Harrison. He knows how to adjust. He beat Lubin. So he had more presence and more experience. And to me, when Rosario, even though he only had 1 loss, it matters how you lose to me. When I'm evaluating a fight, if your 1 loss is somewhere where you got knocked down 3 times, I'm going to put that in the back of my mind. Like, okay, like, when the lights are on, do I trust this dude? So I thought Charlo would win. I thought it'd be a late stoppage. I thought maybe like round 10, round 11 he'll win. He won in 8. He KO'd him in 8 rounds. He knocked him down 3 times. I just think Charlo is on a different level. He has different skill set than Rosario. Rosario's not a bad fighter. He's maybe a title holder, but he's not really he's a title holder to a contender. He's not a unification type fighter. You know what I'm saying? So Jamel Charlo got done with that one, and it was a cool fight. but he clearly outclassed Rosario to me. So you may ask, like, what should be next for the Charlos? Me personally, I think for Jamal at 160, he got a lot of good options, bro. He got a lot of good options. He can, I would love to see him fight Demetrius Andrade. I think that would be a good stylistic match because I think what Jamal showed me in this fight is that he can adjust and he knows how to focus for 12 rounds. And fighting Boo Boo, he's going to give you so many different angles, and he's so technically sound and he's long. That would be a good physical battle because Deverchenko, how technically he tries to be, he still didn't have that physical presence because he's small and he didn't have the reach. Where Boo Boo has the reach and he's strong, and he's smart. But then you also got Jamal Charlo, who strong and he's technically sound too. That people don't give him credit for that. So I would love to see that fight. I think in that fight, I think whoever knows how to dig down deep and has that second gear is going to win that fight. I just don't know who has it. It could be Boo Boo. I think Boo Boo has he has the skills to do it. It's just whether or not he does it. And I know Charlo has it too, so that'll be a good fight. Another fight I would love to see is Charlo versus Triple G. I think the 2021 version of Jamal Charlo versus the 2021 version of Triple G. I think it's a good fight, but I think it's a fight that Jamal Charlo wins. Now, if you're talking about the 2015 version of Triple G, then that's a different thing. But we're not talking about that. I think Jamal Charlo wins that fight, hands down. Not hands down, but I think he wins it fairly. I think similar to maybe this fight with Deverchenko. I think maybe he wins it 8-4. Triple G is pretty much a one-trick pony right now, and he doesn't have the same power at this older age against top-notch competition that he had maybe 6-7 years ago. So another fight, of course, we would love to see, but I don't know if we're going to see it. Jamal Charlo versus Canelo. I think Canelo definitely would be a favorite because he's shown that he can bite down and fight tough competition and come out with wins. He did it 2 times in his Triple G. Regardless of what people think, he didn't fold. And I think he won the second one. To me, I had a win and then I had the first one a draw. He beat Lara, beat Trout. A lot of those fights were tough fights. So I think him fighting Jamal Charlo would be another tough one. But I think Canelo has shown the experience that he has to get out there and to get that win. But I would still love to see that fight. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Canelo would beat Charlo like crazy. I think he would win probably, I have it like Canelo winning 7 rounds, Charlo winning 5 rounds. But again, he's going through a legal situation right now with Golden Boy and DAZN. So who knows when he's gonna, be able to fight again? And by the time he fights, it might be over a year. And you don't get those years back in boxing, bro. So it's gonna be interesting, When it comes to Jamel, to me, he doesn't have a lot of options. I guess 154 is kind of like, he's definitely the top. He's the top dog in 154. I don't know who you can fight at 154. I guess you can fight. You can fight Jared Hurd. You can fight. He already beat Lubin. You can fight J-Rock, I guess. But none of those fights have really moved the needle for me. So I don't know. I don't see a lot of things happening at 154 right now. I guess you could fight Munguia, but I think he beats Munguia hands down. You know what I'm saying? Well, now Munguia's he's at 160 now, so I don't even know. So I don't know what who Jamel can fight for real. 154 is not that attractive right now. So what we're gonna do right now before we get out of here, we're gonna go over our top 10 in each weight class in the middleweights and also in the junior middleweights. Counting last night's results or Saturday's results, depending on when you're listening to this. Number 10 in middleweight, I got Rob Brandt. Number 9, I got Kanal Islam. Number 8, I got Murata coming out of Japan. Number 7, just talked about him. I got Jaime Munguia, just moved up to 160. Number 6, it was kind of tough. It was tough putting him in number 6. So I think he could be number 5. I got Sergey Deverchenko. He's had nothing but close fights. I think he's definitely one of the top 5, top 6 in middleweight. Number 5, who I ultimately put in number 5, was Chris Eubank Jr. Number 4, Triple G. I think he's definitely not the same Triple G as some years ago, but I still think he's a top 5 middleweight. And number 3, I got Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. I think him and Charlo would be a great fight. I don't know who would win that one, to be truthful. Similar in age. It'd be a great fight. I would want to see that fight. I would pay to see that fight for sure. Number 2, I got Jamal Charlo. And, of course, number 1, I got King of the Hill. You know what I mean? Going through some legal situation right now. But I got my dude, Canelo Alvarez. So before we get out of here, we're going to also get into the junior middleweights. Number 10, I got Teixeira. Number 9, I got Jeff Horn. Number 8, I got Tony Harrison. And a lot of these can be interchangeable because a lot of these are on the same level. There's not really a lot of people that are separating themselves in 154. I think a lot of them can beat each other depending on what night you get them on. Number 7 is Landy Lara. Number 6 is J-Rock. Number 5 is, we just saw last night, we saw Jason Rosario. Number 4, I put Jared Hurd. I think skills-wise, he's still a tad bit above. I think he needs to get his mind right, though, and hopefully I think he has the opportunity to do that. Number 3, I got Lubin, but again, I think Lubin and Jared Hurd, it can be interchangeable. Number 2, Kell Brook, but Kell Brook is scheduled to fight, Terrence Crawford coming up, and that'll be a good fight. But I think Terrence Crawford should win that one. And then number 1, we got Jermell Charlo. So man, this was a good episode. We're gonna try to do these on a frequent basis. You know what I'm saying? Especially we're gonna try to release an episode every either Sunday or Monday after a big fight. In October, we got some big fights coming up. We got you got on the 17th, you got Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko. You got on the 24th, you got Leo Santa Cruz versus Tank Davis. November 21st, we got of course my dude out of Texas. We got my man Errol Spence Jr. And then versus Danny Garcia, and then hopefully in end of December we get that third fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder in Las Vegas. So we're gonna wrap up this episode. Like I said before, catch us on Instagram at You Can't Play Boxing. That's UCANTPLAYBOXING. Check us out on our website that's getting remodeled right now, which is can'tplayboxing.com. Also, check out our YouTube, You Can't Play Boxing. Check out our Twitter, You Can't Play Boxing. And I think we hit up every place that we're at. So until next time, y'all, Peace.